Update, brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300. Manx Radio's Update with Andy Wint.
Faster Mai, good evening, it's 5:30. This is Update for Thursday, 24th of August 2023 from Manx Radio. 30 minutes to look at the latest news on the island. Background to that news, we got sport and business and Sea-Watch and travel updates. And the newsmakers in person this evening. Steam packet employees may go on strike. The inquest opened into the Bradda Head plane crash death. Health ministers apologise for the Cumman Mooar upset. The Premier League, a jailed Chinese billionaire, and the Isle of Man tech company. And do you teach your children to manage money?
Man Benham for all your business and legal needs.
First of all, at 29 minutes ahead of 6 o'clock, the Update News headlines. Faster Mai, Siobhan Fletcher.
Faster Mai. Nearly 900 secondary school students have collected GCSE, IGCSE and other Level 1 and 2 qualifications on the Isle of Man today. Just 21% of students secured the highest grades of A star and A, with 72% securing A star to C marks. There was an overall pass rate of 98%, with students obtaining A star to G grades. Police are urging motorists to take extra care whilst roads around the TT course are open. There's currently a pause in Manx Grand Prix qualifying sessions. Roads will close again at 6 p.m. Health Minister Laurie Hooper has apologised to residents of the Cumman Mooar residential home after it's been announced plans to close the site are being put on hold. The Government Department and Manx Care will have to request updated funding approval from Treasury following spiralling costs. Further afield, Russian President Vladimir Putin has sent condolences to the family of mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, who's believed to have died in a plane crash. Mr. Putin's also described him as a talented businessman. A rover that was on board India's spacecraft has made its first exploration of the moon's surface. The machine will analyse the mineral makeup of the lunar landscape. And a world-famous conductor has apologised unreservedly for losing his temper and allegedly punching a singer. 80-year-old Sir John Elliot Gardner is reported to have assaulted William Thomas after the performer left the stage in the wrong direction. They're your headlines. News at 6.
Man Benham. Contact us by phone, video call, email or face-to-face. We're happy to connect with you. Manx Radio Weather with Manx Glass and Glazing.
Goramaya, thank you, Siobhan, from the Ronaldsway Met Office. There's no wind warning in operation for the North Irish Sea. State of sea is slight. And the weather this evening, dry, some late sunshine, a light to moderate westerly. After dark, the wind will pick up. Some isolated showers are possible. We're down to 12 through the night. And for Jehenya, sunny intervals, a risk of isolated sharp showers in a moderate westerly. Top temperature 18, overnight minimum 12. Into that bank holiday weekend for Jasan. Occasional showers first thing on Saturday in a fresh northwesterly. Then dry and sunny and less breezy as the day goes on, and up to 18 degrees. High water was about 20 minutes ago. Sunset 29 minutes past 8 tonight. Low water's at 17 minutes to midnight. High water tomorrow morning at 11 minutes before 6, and sunrises at 13 minutes past 6.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
Isle of Man steam packet company employees could go on strike in a dispute about staff rotas that's lasted over 2.5 years. The maritime trade union Nautilus is currently balloting members after claims the company has refused to engage in independent arbitration. The steam packet company says it won't be commenting at this time to respect the ongoing process. The national organiser of Nautilus is Steve Doran.
The company wrote to us on the 21st of October 2021, giving us notice to negotiate live on board. We've had numerous meetings over the past 2 years since then, and in those meetings, despite telling us that live on board was to be negotiated, they've actually verbally told us that it was non-negotiable, which has been somewhat baffling. As a democratic union, we've always kept our members informed and consulted them step by step. And the issues from the maritime professionals have basically raised concerns with us over the quality of life. These officers chose to work for the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company over other maritime companies for this work-life balance. And they've cited that on many occasions with us, that they want their existing contracts of employment to be honoured so that they can be home with the children. That is the position that they've maintained throughout. We've tried our level best working with the company to find a mutual agreement, but so far we've not achieved that.
How long has actually this been going on for?
We've simply been trying to reach agreement with them, and they are forcing through the changes, and time running out now. The Manxman is at the Isle of Man. We don't want disruption. The seafarers that I represent, they are very, very disappointed indeed. So we always remain open to trying to find a solution. We don't want any disruption for the public and the Isle of Man citizens. But fundamentally, these officers, they want their work-life balance, their quality of life to be maintained.
The inquest into the death of a pilot who crashed into Bradda Head has been opened at Douglas Courthouse. Here's Tessa Hawley.
Carl Bettany died on the 17th of July after the light aircraft he was flying collided with a cliff face in Port Erin. Emergency services were called to the scene at around 1 p.m. following reports that his Cessna Centurion had crashed. Eyewitnesses at the scene told Manx Radio they'd seen a small plane flying in the area before hearing a bang. Smoke was then seen billowing from behind Milner Tower. Data from Flight Radar 24, which tracks the movements of light and commercial aircraft, showed the final route the plane had taken after leaving Ronaldsway on the day. The water and airspace around the crash site was closed to the public, whilst police worked with air crash investigators. Opening the inquest into Mr Bettany's death, Coroner of Inquest James Brooks said the 64-year-old financial advisor had suffered multiple injuries from blast and impact trauma. This meant the Laxey resident, whose identity hadn't been made public officially before today, was identified by DNA from a muscle sample, which was compared to DNA from his toothbrush. Confirming that investigations into the incident are continuing, Coroner Brooks passed his condolences to Mr Bettany's family, telling them it must have been the most shocking loss. The inquest has now been adjourned to a date to be set.
The Isle of Man in 30 minutes. Update on Manx Radio with Andy Wint.
The Health and Social Care Minister says they should never have got to the stage they're at with Cumman Mooar residential home. It's after Manx Care and the DHSC revealed plans to close the home in Ramsey within the next 2 years, and those have been put on hold. They've apologised for any upset caused. Health Minister Laurie Hooper, MHK.
I think the reason that we're quite clear that we can't say how long the pause will be is to give some assurance to people that says we're not going to rush into this. We know that we need to go through that Treasury process. We know that we need to demonstrate that need for the construction. We need to secure funding. We'll need to go to Tynwald to secure that funding. And so what we don't want to be doing is telling people, there'll be a short pause or a long pause or whatever it may be, and try and rush through this process so that people can have some reassurance that there isn't going to be a quick decision necessarily or a rapid turnaround. This is something that we're going to do properly, and we're going to take this seriously and make sure we get a right answer out for people, and to make sure that they're as involved as people can be in this process. This is a situation that really should never have got to this stage, I think it's fair to say. I think there's been quite a bit of confusion and unnecessary anxiety and upset that's been caused as a result of the way this has been handled. It definitely should not have happened.
Someone we've heard from a number of times on this topic is Vicky Hewison. Her mum is a resident of Cumman Mooar, and she's been leading a campaign to keep the facility open.
The immediate thoughts were absolutely fantastic, because that's exactly what the aim of the campaign was to put it on hold until the new facility was built. Unfortunately, though, after I read the actual contents of the release, I think that my response is a little bit more muted now. Obviously, feeling has been extremely high in the north of the island, and I think that really this is just something to try and appease us, really.
Do you accept those apologies?
I think it's an extremely overdue apology, and yes, I'll take it at face value, but I do think that something face-to-face is actually warranted given the amount of time that they've had to prepare themselves for the onslaught of fury, probably from a lot of the relatives and residents. I'll take it. I can't speak for the other relatives, though, because it has caused so much upset and grief.
Parents and carers are being urged to help teach their children how to manage money from an early age. HSBC has hosted a back to School Open Day today in Douglas. Adam Belfield is Head of Wealth and Personal Banking.
I think it's something that we should do more of. We should really be teaching children around how to manage their money, save for the future. Yes, they may be starting small, but small and often is better than not doing anything at all. I think it's a really important topic, and at HSBC we're here to help customers of all ages, starting from newborn through to teenagers and young adults. I think a lot of parents are keen to set their children up with bank accounts and sometimes don't know where to start because it's a long time since they've done it themselves. But absolutely, there's more of an interest. I think now more than ever, people are interested in setting their finances up right for themselves, but also for their children. I would just encourage that if people are interested in any of the topics we've been talking around over the last month, that they can come in and talk to us. They can book an appointment. It'd be great to hear from our customers and to help them with whatever financial needs they have in their life at the moment.
Sea-Watch with the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company.
Motor vessel Manxman departed Heysham at 6 minutes past 3. She'll be into Douglas gone 6:30 and on the link span shortly before 7 o'clock. Ben McCree departs Douglas at 8:15 this evening, heading for Heysham, getting there just before midnight. The overnight departure 2:15, back to Douglas at 6 tomorrow morning. High-speed craft Manannan left Douglas at 4:15. She'll be in Liverpool about 7 o'clock, departing at 9 o'clock tonight, back to Douglas at quarter to midnight. There's an overnight departure from Liverpool. Manannan departs Liverpool at 4 o'clock, getting into Douglas at 6:45. And the morning departures at 8 o'clock. Manxman heads to Heysham and Manannan heads to Liverpool at 9 o'clock.
Follow the Steam Packet on Twitter for the latest sailing information.
The English Premier League's reportedly facing calls from UK MPs to investigate alleged links between a recently jailed Chinese billionaire and an Isle of Man-based tech company. An investigation by the Mail on Sunday claims to have found connections between Douglas-based TGP and Alvin Chow. He was found guilty of more than 100 charges relating to organised crime and illegal gambling activity in excess of £85.7 billion and was imprisoned for 18 years. The story from Simon Richardson.
The UK's all-party parliamentary group for gambling harm has told the Mail on Sunday that it's prepared to launch an inquiry into the apparent links unless the Premier League and the UK Gambling Commission, which regulates TGP, provide satisfactory answers. Vice Chair of the APPG, Sir Ian Duncan Smith, has told the Mail on Sunday there's no suggestion TGP is involved in illegal activity, but the ultimate beneficial ownership of the company is not possible to identify from public records. The Mail on Sunday says it's found TGP works with 8 Asian-facing betting brands who together have links with 10 Premier League clubs. The Isle of Man Gambling and Supervision Commission told Manx Radio TGP held a licence here until 2020, but no longer requires one. Asian gambling companies do not hold UK licences. Instead, they strike business deals with companies such as TGP, which does hold a UK gambling licence and can therefore advertise in the UK, which is not permitted under an Isle of Man licence. The Isle of Man Gambling and Supervision Commission says businesses here can cease for a number of different reasons, ranging from business decisions through to regulatory interventions. It's not the Commission's policy to comment on the affairs of individual licensees or former licensees, including the reasons why licensing ceased in the Isle of Man.
Manx Radio Business Briefing.
At 16 minutes before 6 in corporate news, London-based Lion Trust Asset Management surged as it emerged that its takeover bid for GAM Asset Management had failed after the asset manager failed to win enough backing from its shareholders. For a full daily market report, go to ramseycrookall.com. After 6 decades of family ownership, Subway is set to be bought by a private equity firm. The sandwich chain announced it had agreed a deal with US-based Rourke Capital, which owns Baskin-Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts. The chain didn't reveal the terms of the sale, but Reuters reported that it had recently been valued at more than $9 billion. That's £7.1 billion. Subway's grown rapidly in recent years, but faced rising costs and increased competition. It said the takeover reflected the substantial value of the brand brand. The sale makes Rock Capital one of the largest restaurant operators in the world. It already controls US restaurant giant Inspire Brands, which owns chains including Jimmy John's, Arby's, Baskin-Robbins and Buffalo Wild Wings. Subway started in 1965 as Pete's Super Submarines in Bridgeport, Connecticut, started by 17-year-old Fred DeLuca, named after his pal Peter Buck. Now it's gone for £7.1 billion.
The Stock Market Report, brought to you by Ramsey Crookall.
UK and European markets were muted as an early boost from Nvidia's bumper earnings report and falling bond yields faded throughout the season. The dollar rose, investors waited US job data, oil steadied after earlier declines, and gold rose for a fourth straight session. The numbers now from Ramsey Crookall. At the close in London, the FTSE 100 up just under 0.2% at 7,333. The DAX in Frankfurt closed down 0.6% at 15,633. Just a short time ago in New York City, the Dow Jones Industrials down 0.3%, 34,366. The Nasdaq Tech Stocks Index down just over 1% at 13,577, and the S&P 500 in Chicago down just over 0.5% at 4,411. In the exchange markets, the British pound sterling currently trading at $1 26.3 cents, €1 16.6 cents, and 23 South African rand 73.1 cents. In commodities, gold's up 0.33% at $1,920 per troy ounce, and a barrel of Brent crude's down 0.4% at $82.62.
You've got an investment plan?
Yeah, Mike set it up.
But don't you need loads of money to do that?
Not this one. It's called Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, and you pay in monthly as little as £100. So it's like saving regularly, really helping us invest in the future for a house, or the kids' education.
£100 a month? I could easily do that.
You should. The sooner you start, the better.
Invest in your future with as little as £100 a month. Shearwater from Ramsey Crookall, the island's investment specialist for 75 years. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
A Douglas man has been handed a 6-month prison term after punching his mother in the face. At Douglas Courthouse, Tessa Hawley.
Aaron Lee Barnett attacked her multiple times, causing her nose to bleed heavily at their home on Peel Road on the 16th of July. She called 999 just before 7:30 in the evening, telling police her son also had a knife. The 26-year-old made his own hysterical call to the emergency services, alleging the attack had been the other way round. Barnett told officers he was hearing voices and was arrested and taken to police headquarters. Whilst there, he spat at a custody sergeant twice, with the spit landing on his neck and clothing. He later admitted common assault and assaulting a police officer. During sentencing at Douglas Courthouse, the court was told Barnett had failed to comply with a psychiatric assessment or a social inquiry report. His advocate described his client as having not insignificant personal and mental health difficulties, adding he is apologetic. He accepts fully his mother did not attack him. He lost his temper, the advocate added, describing it as a moment in which he'd simply lashed out. Jailing Barnett, who's already spent 5 weeks in custody, Deputy High Bailiff Rachel Braidwood told him this was a nasty incident. It would have been extremely frightening. Noting his significant difficulties in the past, she added, spitting is disgusting and won't be tolerated.
Update, brought to you by Simcox Advocates, advising businesses and families since 1949. Visit simcox.com or call 690 300. Manx Radio Sport.
Faster my, Rhiann Evans.
Faster my, good afternoon. Well, sports news today is solely focused on the MGP, and Daniel Ingham is continuing to impress. He topped the senior MGP session in both laps with a fastest time of 118.607 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there today. No better place to be, is there, when it's like this? But yeah, no, I was happy enough. It's just a lot of traffic, so just taking your time getting by some people and just just chipping away, at the bits where I've got clear track.
In the classic superbike, it was Michael Dunlop who dominated the leaderboard in 126.046 miles per hour. But despite putting distance between himself and the rest of the field with the first 126 miles per hour lap of the week, Dunlop wasn't entirely happy with his performance.
No, she stopped again there, so it's another mess, but the way sometimes it goes. I would just have to keep the bike going, that's the problem, It's, sometimes it's hard to get feedback when you know it's wrong, but it needs fixed, but look, that's just the way it is. We've had a few issues.
In junior MGP, a solid battle played out between newcomer Joe Yeardsley and Victor Lopez, but it was Manxman Joe who came out on top in stunning form.
And here we come, two machines, close proximity across the line. Wow! 19 minutes 17.235, 117.373, smashing the lap record. It's unofficial, of course, because it's only qualifying, but young Joe Yeardsley, the young Manxman, 117.373.
Elsewhere, and Michael Rees topped the ultra lightweight, clocking in a time of 106.191 miles per hour. And there was more success for Dunlop in the lightweight. He topped the leaderboard in a time of 116.535. And Dewan McGuinness was fastest qualifier for the Senior Classic MGP. He led the way with the fastest lap time of 110.574 miles per hour.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
You want delays? We got delays. The 3:30 inbound Loganair from Heathrow is delayed till 6 o'clock. The 4 o'clock Aer Lingus from Dublin landed at 20 to 6. Next inbound, it's the 10 to 8 Loganair from London City, expected at 9:15. The 5 to 8 Loganair from Liverpool is scheduled on time. The 8:05 EasyJet from Manchester won't be in until 10:15. And the 25 to 9 EasyJet from London Gatwick delayed until 20 to 10. Outbound, the 4:30 Loganair to London City delayed till 6:30. The 6 o'clock Loganair to Liverpool is on time. 25 to 9 EasyJet to Manchester won't be out until 11:15. And the 9:05 EasyJet to Gatwick at 10:10. On the road, East Quay and Peel's closed between the House of Manannan and the road bridge for work on the road pavements, and also restrictions around East Quay and the Prom in Peel for the Mothe bike show and the MGP centenary celebrations till 8 o'clock tonight. In Douglas, Hillside Avenue is closed for adjacent office window replacement. In Farm Hill, Annika Road and Cushing Road closed in phases for resurfacing. Temporary lights on Springfield Road in Pulrose for work on the pavements. The Doon Loop is closed for ditching work. In Onchan, temporary lights on Harbour Road at the Fairway Junction for gas main replacement work. And in Dreamscurry, Dreamscurry Road is closed between Jacks Lane and Dreamscurry Hill for telegraph pole replacement. Temporary lights on Church Road, Port St Mary near Southlands for gas main work. Is it Port St Mary? Is it Port Erin? It's up to you. And the Mountain Road closes tonight at 6 o'clock. Opening no later than 9.
H&HMotorcycles.im for all your motorcycle requirements. Southgate Industrial Estate, opposite Quayside Tyres. Call 665646.
Talking of which, you're urged to be patient and allow extra time to get around the Isle of Man when the mountain course is closed. PC Louise Kenyuk and the Reverend John Caldwell talked about it.
It is unfortunate. I mean, last night going home myself from work, it is difficult. It does cause congestions, it causes queues, it causes frustration. But, we just have to be patient. There's nothing that we can do. We can't make roads happen. We can't put officers at every single point we'd like to. It's just take your time. Just please be patient for us.
I think the frustrating one is when you, on a roundabout, and people go and sit in the middle of the roundabout because they need to get off it.
I think that was another couple of cars. Issues.
And I noticed that was a problem yesterday down in town. On a couple of things.
I think it's just being careful, like saying, don't go onto the roundabout until it's clear. Just
until
take that minute.
Access is, until you're that's right. Do not enter junction.
And then you end up with a motorbike weaving between the. Because this German guy came up past me at St Ninians the other day. On my right hand side, and then cut into the little funnel lane to go down Bray Hill. Just came straight across the front of me, not a care in the world. It's like,
wow.
And he was completely oblivious to where he was. He was just focused on where he was going. And I think it's just being sensitive to people in your mirrors, where they're coming from, and a little bit of common sense about
that. Make that extra check, isn't it?
Update. Brought to you by Simcox Advocates.
The Health and Social Care Minister's declined to list the inaccuracies he says were included in a recent report by the Health Services Consultative Committee. Laurie Hooper was asked to provide the list after he stated the body's annual report was full of errors and the committee was acting outside the law. Here's Sean Cowper.
Responding to the Tynwald written question from Oncan MHK Rob Callister, Mr Hooper said he doesn't intend to list the inaccuracies, but did list examples including incorrect references to the department's legislative programme, incorrect references to the Manx Care mandate, and statements about delayed policy decisions that didn't include examples. He adds that similar concerns were raised about accuracy following the completion of the HSCC's annual report in 2022. In a separate question, Speaker of the House of Keys, Juan Watterson, asked what had prompted the Department of Health and Social Care's announcement last month that it would be changing the role of the HSCC. In response, the Minister stated the committee is no longer fit for purpose and that amending the regulations have been under consideration for some time. The DHSC is required to consult with the committee and has circulated draft regulations to its members. Mr Hooper says formal feedback is due from the committee early next month before the proposals are incorporated into a reform bill due before Tynwald in October.
You're being asked to take part in the Isle of Man's biggest swap shop this weekend. It's open in Strand Street Shopping Centre from tomorrow until Monday. Minnie Perrups, the organiser, and she's hoping to raise money for the Haruma project.
I've gathered clothes for sort of 2 months now from colleagues and their friends and families, and there's some incredible stuff that's actually going to be in store. You would be surprised how many people have stuff that still has labels on them, never worn. And we also, of course, as a corporate business, some higher up people that brought some fabulous stuff. So I'm actually really excited myself to browse and hopefully find some good bargains. I've actually done this with my friends in my living room, and it's always been such a brilliant thing to do because someone else's trash is another one's treasure type of thing. And I just think it's been a fun idea. And in terms of the cost of living that's happening at the moment, people might not be able to afford new clothes, but that doesn't mean that they don't want a new fresh wardrobe. So based on that and also sustainable fashion and trying to help with not fast fashion and also to raise money for the charity called the Haruma Project. So it's an orphanage in Tanzania. So I'm work for Capital International Group, and the chairman of the company, he went down there to actually climb Kilimanjaro, and as part of the trip, him and his son visited this orphanage, and he realised that the land that the orphanage is on was being leased and it was running out, so they might have been evicted if no one acted. They basically bought a plot of land for the orphanage, but he didn't want to stop there, so he put out to the whole company that if you are part of this project and raise money, you can also go down there. So in September, me together with 11 other colleagues, we are going down to help with agriculture, to help with DIY, painting, sort of you name it.
That's it for Update Tonight, compiled from the resources of Manx Radio's news department. Thanks to newsreader Siobhan Fletcher, producer Rhiann Evans. I'm Andy Wint with another update tomorrow at 5:30.
WINT